Hey, what do you say, Frankmeister? Good evening. Good to see everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Well, like I said last night, I was expecting docs to be dropped today, and if they did, I would be back, and here I am with the docs we've been waiting for, guys. So I figured everybody would be coming to check out the show tonight. I do want to address some things that took place last night, late last night, and we'll get to that later. So let's give a shout out to people in the chat. We got Witchcraft, Miss Carrie, nice to see you. Ron Logan, Melissa Wildcard, Leslie, motherfucking Witchy Widow, what's going on? Fire and Ice, what's going on, Tommy? So I just got home, and I'm understanding this correctly. The defense couldn't even get a firearms expert, or is there more to that? We'll get to that later. So you're laying down. You'll catch the replay. We'll get some good breaths there. SP 74. 6-3 clocks. Play going at it, guys. You hear him? Kyra, good to see you. Grab it, good to see you. Olivia, too. Maureen. Brandon, what's going on, bud? Mustang. Boss Mod in the house. Good to see you, Jinx. Linda. Night Shadow. Been a minute since you've been around. How you been doing? Miss Deb's True Crime Notebook. Go check out her page, guys. She makes one hellacious shorts for these documents that come out, guys, or videos. If you haven't already, go check it out. Hit the like button and subscribe. Route 661, good to see you. Denise V, good to see you. Gibba, what's going on, buddy? You cracked me up, dude. Miss Laura, good to see you. Oh, y'all can't fall asleep yet. It's only Friday night. Miss Lois Cuevas, good to see you. Delulu Bish is in the house. Corey England, Wanda from Missouri. Rescue all dogs. Charismatic, what's going on? And by the way, I talked to Rescue today. We are not attending the jury selection. It'll be boring just sitting there because you're not really learning anything. Tawny Lee, good to see you. Amelia Lavender, She Warrior, Julie Nolan, good to see you. Make sure I get everybody before we start. Al Towns, good to see you. Hold on. I missed something up here. Okay. Oh, it's been raining here all day in Indiana. Priscilla, Boston, good to see you. True Housewife, good to see you. Caught up in the chat as far as everybody who's here. So, like I said last night, guys, I expected Nick to drop today. If not, it would be at least by Tuesday. And sure enough, everything was dropped today. So we know that there will be a hearing conducted following the conclusion. Hey, man, are you trying to take over the show or what? My goodness, dude. And now I just lost my spot. Oh, like I said, now we know that there will be a hearing follow the conclusion of the jury selection on the 16th, according to Judge Gold. That's what she put in her memo or her order yesterday. So we'll go ahead and we're going to take a look at this one right now. Nick objecting to going to the crime scene. All right. Anybody read that just fine? Okay. State objection to defendant's motion for jury to view scene. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and respectfully objects to the court ordering the jury to be transported to the Freedom Bridge, the Monon High Bridge, to the site where the bodies of the victims were located, and to the site of the old CPS building to view those areas. The state would ask the court to consider the following. Number one, that the defense files a motion to have the jury view the scene on September 23rd, 2024. That the state objects to the jury going out to view those areas requested by the defense for the following reasons. A, the terrain where the bodies were found is very difficult to traverse and would be dangerous for the juries to go to. B, the traveling to where the bodies were found and to the opposite and end of the Monon High Bridge would involve encroaching on two private landowners' properties. C, that would require a substantial amount of time and resources to take the jury to those areas while ensuring that they are sequestered from the public and outside influences. D, that the areas of where the bodies were found along with the site of the old CPS building are substantially different from the time the crimes occurred. Number three, that the state intends to introduce into evidence demonstrative exhibits, maps of the various areas, and drone footage of the various areas to show the jurors the various places outlined in the defense request. Number four, that any benefits of the jury visiting these areas is outweighed by the dangers such a trip presents to the jury and to the fairness of the trial. Number five, that the state does not believe it is proper to have the jury view the scene or the others various areas. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and files their objections to the defense motion for jury to view the scene and would ask the court to deny the same. Okay. And like we talked about, I mean, I've talked about it in my last couple of lives, and we talked about it when Chris was on my show. Like I said, I brought these points up before this was even dropped, and I kind of figured this is what Nick was going to point out about. It's too dangerous to go out there. I mean, if anybody's never been there and you take a trip out there, you'd be like, man, this is tougher than we thought it would be. I mean, there's several people in this chat have been out there and done it numerous times. I've done it, I believe, 3 times. I know at least 2, maybe 3. And it's rough, guys. I mean, I could see if you're going from the Freedom Bridge, it's the straight hike all the way up to the Monon High Bridge, and that's it. But then it was brought up by Nick, like going over onto the Weber property on the private drive underneath the bridge. Brad does not like anybody on their property, period. And neither does Ryan Logan. Ron's son doesn't like people on his property, in which a couple of individuals was on the property the other day and filmed themselves doing it, and you know how they got away with it, we don't know. Let's see, let's go to the chat real quick. Yeah, it's windy as hell here in Indiana right now. Let's see. Y'all are talking about the weather. All right, Frosty. I have not heard anything of sorts about the firearm expert. I mean, there's still motions to compel and things of that nature in here that I can go over. I don't know if it brings anything, but the motions to compel, all it has to do is with these depositions and stuff like that. So, and he's also filed a motion to limine. I have not read that yet, so I'll go over that with you guys too. Yeah, you're right. I would assume. I would think so too, Frosty. You're not going to find too many that work against each other. Hey, Leslie. How about Boo Boo? I don't know. Sounds like a good name. Do you guys remember the journalist from Bloomington I talked about in my last show? He's the one that took the pics in Frank's thumbnail, I believe. So we're full steam ahead for trial, guys. I can tell you that right now. Unless something happened dramatically between now and the 14th. Yeah, guys, like I said, make sure you go over and check out Deb's True Crime Notebook. Hey, guys, I'm getting ready to drop the last document for this week. It should be finished loading in a couple of minutes. So you guys go make sure you go check it out. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe over to her channel. So what do you think? Has anybody got any opinions on what the judge is going to do as far as this visit to the crime scene? I mean, some people believe that she's going to make a decision on Monday. Well, she's already made her decision. If you guys remember correctly, she even put it in the last order she put down that they would have a hearing following the jury selection the same day, final day. So there's an answer to that. You guys are box of wine was good. What are y'all talking about tonight, Lord? Yeah, I'll go ahead and address it now. I guess there was some ruckus going on another channel last night, and a couple of the guests were just rude to the host, calling him a liar and all kinds of crap over the fact that they're trying to claim that Richard Allen's constitutional rights were violated because he didn't have an attorney present when they had the safekeeping order. Well, I'm here to tell you, I did some digging. I called my attorney. I had another Susie H. And we had Marv from beyond the evidence, do some digging too. And they are allowed to have a hearing without an attorney. And if it's an emergency situation, yes, they don't have to have an attorney there. It's for his well-being and the safekeeping of the prisoner. And and also he had told the court he was hiring an attorney, so that was on him at that point. And it's just awful funny. Once they transported him over to Westville, he writes to court and says he needs an attorney. So yes, they can go to have a hearing without their attorney when it comes to emergency situations. I posted the law thing in my community page if anybody wants to check it out. Sorry to bust their bubbles, but somebody needs to teach you guys to start doing your own work instead of just guessing and saying they're breaking laws when you're not even researching the laws or anything. If you're not going to do that kind of work, you might as well just stay the hell off YouTube and quit trying to put your 2 cents in when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And that's all I got to say about that. Yes, it is. Best intro on YouTube. My man Grismatically Clever created my intro, guys. Blind as a bat again tonight. Yeah, my eyesight's kind of bothering me tonight too, Rescue. And I ain't even wearing my glasses. It's like I'm having to move in and out. You guys. You're all right, Carrie. I mean, I know you've been sick, and now you're taking care of your boy, so he's sick too, so that's more important. So don't worry about my channel. It's always going to be here. You know how to get a hold of me. That's all I do, Amelia. I'm here for you guys, to keep you guys in the loop on exactly what's going on with this case when it comes to filings and everything, factual documents, the whole works. I'm not one of these channels that's going to put this hogwash out here. You know, that's why I call the defense people the scarecrow, because you know the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz didn't have no brain. They can't do nothing for themselves. They want to bitch and complain, thinking that we're wrong. Well, you know what? Our team, this team, all the creators that work together alongside with me, and I work alongside with them, that's called a team. And even the people in the chat work as a team, because some of you guys will work behind the scenes for some of us. And we greatly appreciate that. You got quiet now because Carrie's talking about you in there, dude. Oh, you chewing on a bone. Is that what it is? I mean, these people were arguing back and forth saying his rights are violated. And I'm like, oh, man, I've got to fucking research this and make sure I know what's right and what's wrong. And I got the answers today. Phil Bond in the house? Yes, she is. Good to see you, Phil. What'd you say? What do you look? I've never seen. You've never seen Blade? Come here. Blade. Come here. Come here. Up. Come here. You kiss. Kisses. Come here, dude. Up. Come here. Come on. Up. Hold up. Just lost my camera, guys. Hold on. Oh, shit. Where'd it go? There it is. All right, waiting for the footage to come back in. He didn't want to jump up, guys, so sorry. Otherwise, you'd see him. I was trying, guys. He's more into this bone right now. He does it every time I go live, guys. What did he file? Deb, I didn't see that. What was it over? Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 bones, Jinx, laying around the house. Scarlet Letters in the house. All right, what I'm going to do next, guys, is I'm going to go into the get this file out for some of the other motions or orders that were filed. And here's Nick's response to compel. We'll go over that real quick. All right. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan and respectfully submits its response to the defense's motion to compel the opponents to answer questions and in support of said motion which state the following. Number 1, the state believes the information that the defense is asking the court to compel is privileged information as is it's to its work product or pertains to communication between the state and one of their witnesses, or it is not relevant to the guilt or innocence of Richard Allen. Number 2, that is to the August 10, 2023 deposition of Jerry Holman, substance of conversations had between Sheriffs Tony Liggett and Jerry Holman while the prosecutor is present to discuss trial strategy as work product and therefore confidential. Number 3, that is to the May 3rd, 2024 deposition of Jerry Holman, the decision of when to hire a blood splatter expert for trial is at the discretion of the prosecutor, and not only is Jerry Holman not in a position to answer that, but the state's strategy as to when to hire a blood splatter expert is work product and is confidential. Number 4, that as to March 22nd, 2024 deposition of John Gallupo, conversations between Mr. Gallupo and the attorneys for the Department of Corrections are confidential as attorney-client communications. Number 5, that as to the April 18th, 2024 deposition of Joshua Robinson, conversations between Mr. Robinson and his attorney are confidential as attorney-client communications. Number 6, that as to the May 3rd, 2024 deposition of Tony Liggett, the purpose of the Unified Command meeting is not only not relevant to the guilt or innocence of Richard Allen, but also confidential as the prosecutor was involved in those conversations, which include the work product. Number 7, that as to September 13th, 2024, deposition of Steve Mullen. Mr. Mullen answered the questions that the defense posed to the best of his ability, simply because he did not answer them the way the defense wanted is not a valid reason to ask for court intervention. Wherefore, the state would ask the court not to compel the witnesses to answer the questions, and of all other relief that this is just improper in premises. Deny, deny, deny. She's going to deny it all. That's how I feel about it. Because he explained everything perfectly. All right, Shelly's in the house. Nope. I think she's going to deny it now that I see what Nick has put out for the visit to the crime area. I see it being denied. He made very good, valid points, and there's a security risk there. I mean, you don't know if there's going to be people a couple miles away flying their drones over in that area to scope out what's going on. You know, you got to worry about all that stuff, and the county is not going to fork out that kind of money for that kind of security. So to save the money, the judge will deny it, and they won't go nowhere. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it playing out. And as far as the compel, like I said, Nick said it perfectly. Everything's confidential because it's usually work product or it's a client attorney privilege. Yes, justice for Abby and Libby, guys. Justice for Abby and Libby. That is right. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and put that up on the screen real quick. How's that? Remember that. And I did get confirmation from Mr. Randy Gravitt that Becky will be, I don't know if she's going to bring him before everybody gets there or if Randy's going to meet with her or what the circumstances are, but there will be more bracelets to hand out at the walk on October 13th at 1:30 at the Freedom Bridge parking lot. And we asked that everybody try to spread the word because we would like to try to double in size this time. We had nearly between 40 and 50 people back in April. Like to double it if we can. If not, the more the merrier. Laura's on debate. There is a debate on whether they recused themselves or were forced out. Someone please make a video clarifying that. Hennessy had a smart plan. One should quit. One says he will quit later but doesn't. I'm not into that video stuff. I'm sure there's somebody in here that likes to do that stuff, Laura. What? What are you talking about? Gibbo, you just need dirty pics. What? All right, we ain't starting that in here. No. None of that. Who's being scrubs? Rescue. Get at him, girl. Oh my goodness. Really, Gibbo? Don't say that on my show, man. Please don't say that. Because then he's going to be saying, well, people in your chat saying I'm doing this and doing that. No, I know what you mean there. Please don't do that in my chat. Thank you, Linda. Bear Claw, thank you for the super sticker. Shoal Farm, she's Bear Claw's Bear Jew is giving you guys a shout out. Really, Ron? You got it, man. You guys, I swear, you guys come up with some of the craziest stuff in this chat. It's not, no case is ever an open and shut case, Kyra. You never know what the defense has got up their sleeve. I mean, yeah, I see it's a very strong case against Richard Allen. Very, very strong, you know. But you just never know what could happen in that courtroom. That's the whole purpose. They have not tried to dispute the confessions whatsoever. As you can see, they're trying to dispute that he was even out there. So that's why they want to take the trip out to the bridge and all that stuff. Try to show that the timing does not fit with him, for him. They're beating him. They're beating a dead horse with that SB-74. I know that stuff's long and gone in a lot of our minds. Yes, Miss Rescue, I sure did. And by the way, guys, the sweatshirt that I got on, Miss Rescue All Dogs had it done for me. And if I could find somebody that does this kind of work, I would have sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, and stuff like that. But I can't find anybody that'll do this kind of work. No, I'm with him all day, Carrie. You know that. He expects attention all day. I understand. I get it. Hell, he sleeps in the bed with me. But that's what the defense is supposed to do. That's their job, to raise reasonable doubt. See, they've already tried to change the timeline of Richard Allen being there, so that's what they're trying to claim. He was there from 12:30 to 1:30 and not 1:30 to 3:30, which doesn't coincide with the girls that he ran into. Because the 1:30 slot is when he was heading toward the Mona High Bridge, and that's when the girls seen him. So how in the hell could you be there until 1:30? Only 1:30. If you take the path from the beginning of the Mona High Bridge, it is not very dangerous. Yes, it is. Been down there many a times, dude. I've slipped down it, you know, and then try to get back up it. You got to realize, man, there's a lot of, we don't know what the jury makeup's going to be. We could have 60, 70-year-olds on the jury, you know. You got to think of that. People's health conditions and stuff like that. It's going to be slippery out there because of the time of the year, the season. You know, the leaves are going to be falling. It's going to be wet. You got to go down a little ravine, you know, and then try to get back up on a wet surface down there. It's not easy. I've done it twice, I think 3 times. I know I've done it at least twice. And I had to get help to get out there the second time. Yeah, exactly. It's completely different. Doesn't even look the same. Give me a second. Randy, want to come up? Randy, you still in the chat? Check your email, man. Hold on, guys. He changed his email. I forgot, so I can't do it that way. Leave. All right. What the heck? What's going on here? All right. There's the link. Randy, if I can get to it so I can pin it. All right, Randy, if you want to come up, there's a link in the chat, but I pinned it up there. Queens, and I dropped the link, guys. Yeah, it's well overgrown. Jake says, I'm just saying, most days I use my cane, but there are days when I have to use my wheelchair. There is no way a wheelchair is going to make it. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Mr. Randy Gravis, good to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Good. Yeah, now you tell them about the scene at that time and over the years and everything that's happened to the area since.
Sure. Over the years, there were a lot of concerns on the bridge before it was ever rebuilt where Abby was standing at. But yes, it is treacherous trains through that whole entire area, especially when came that time of year. The leaves on the south side of the bridge, you slip and slide down the hill, and then try to cross the creek. You slip on the rocks. That's
the algae on the rocks.
Algae on the rocks going across.
Yeah.
Especially if you stand at the north end of the bridge, you can see the wooded area where the mirrors are, and you can see all kinds of logs, trees, limbs, and everything else on the ground. Because they're not ruins. They've been there for a long time. I don't know why people call the ruins, but they've always been there. They're dead tree stumps and stuff out there.
And especially when you get to the ravine where you have to go down to get to the crime scene. It's not easy.
No, especially because when people go down the hill, it's hard to walk down there because where the ravine is, there's a big tree that's crossed the ravine. So they have to go down the side of the hill to cross over the Ron Logan's property to get to where the girls were found. But the other thing, if you went down how Ron Logan went down, it's hard to get back up.
Yes.
You would have to hold on to what trees are there to push you up.
Pull you back up, yeah.
So yeah, the terrain is real dangerous, and the bridge was really dangerous. I'm surprised some of the timbers that didn't collapse, because one of the timbers, I was with Rebecca, I can't think of her last name, but we did a phone check, and when she came back from the south side, she stepped one of the timbers and it fell straight through after she got off that timber.
Wow.
So she was lucky because on the north end, I had her daughter and her daughter's dog, because her husband died not too long ago when we did that. And it's like, well, that'd be hard to explain to the sheriff.
Like Daily Survivor says, who's going to pay if a juror gets injured? That's a prime example that the county does not want to be held liable.
Yeah, especially if somebody, you can break your leg or twist your ankle in several areas going down the hill. If you're not like Ron, he got used to walking down that hill because him and his cousins played out there through those forests all the time when they were kids. So as long as you lived out there, you basically know what to do, what get up these hills and down these hills. But yeah, if the juries did get hurt out there, there would be a problem. And especially like Bradley wouldn't be able to get back up the hill. They would have to have a rope like they did to bring up Libby Abby's body from the bottom where the bodies are found, because they had to take a rope to pull them up. It was hard for them to carry the basket. They had to pull the rope.
The baskets up with the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and we need to let people know at the walk that the Mears property is no trespassing now. It's private property.
Yeah, well, there's been no trespassing since the case.
But there was nothing posted, but they've got it all posted and everything now, from my understanding.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's always been no trespassing on there. But ever since the beginning, but they just haven't had a chance to do it. But yeah, if you totally see the bridge out there on the other side or heading towards Kate Weber's side, Brad, that's how bad. It's really bad. I'm surprised they didn't take those out farther so people wouldn't go on the other side, cross.
Right.
But yeah, it's now with the being from the Freeman Bridge to the Moron Bridge, it's more safer, but you still have to watch what you're walking. You can slip and fall on the side of the hill. They still have rocks on the side, but you still have to worry what you're doing. But it is dangerous, and yeah, if the jury got hurt, if one of the lawyers got hurt, they'll probably blame it on the prosecutor. It's all your fault. Well, it wouldn't be his fault because it was your guys' fault to bring the jurors out here because you're asking. But I'm hopefully whatever outcome on this trial bring more evidence to light that they haven't brought out yet. And Becky was asking me on my Facebook Messenger when to bring the bracelets. I said, well, whenever I can get them. I told her, so October 13th is the walk, so she might come bring the.
Are you going to need a ride? Is the question.
Oh, my youngest brother will pick me up.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure because there's a lot of people out here that are willing to help and go pick you
up. So yeah, my little brother, I told him I have to keep on reminding him 13th. Got to be out there.
Rescue says, I still think it would serve the jury well to walk out across the safe part of the bridge and be pointed to all directions that they will see on video in the courtroom. I agree, but then again, Rescue, I'm sure there's going to be some jurors that are not capable of making that walk.
Yeah, well, and then it's just like you said, depends on the ages. They have to come close to Richard Allen's age. And if rains or whatever, then they have to think about that too, of how dangerous they can slip and fall when it rains. It's always muddy.
But it's just not the safety issues for the jurors as far as physical.
Yeah.
You also got to think about the security issues. Like I said earlier in the show, there would be people stupid enough to go out there and park a mile away from everything and use their drones and try to scope in on the jurors. I mean, I wouldn't put it past anybody to do that.
Yeah, well, they can have people across the property over there where Anna and stuff have a drone fly that way. There's a church there they can park they're at the church or on 200, they could find.
And especially with the jurors supposed to be sequestered.
Yeah.
They are not to have contact with anybody outside the court besides the people involved.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. They have enough photos of the crime scene, photos of the bridge, so they don't really have to go out there because they got all that with them. They have seen the crime scene. They don't need. They can just take pictures. Like, okay, this is how people come down the hill on Ron Logan's place to get to the bodies and the creek. They've seen a lot of this on videos and photos, so they got all of it to make sure juries will be safe. That would be the best way.
And see, like what Nick said, that the terrain has changed so much over the years, which I totally agree with what he's saying there. But like me, you, and several of us has been out at the crime scene numerous times. If you know what you're looking for out there when you got down there, you know exactly where to go to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and these jurors wouldn't know that.
Yeah, you guys, you and whose cookies had the particular coordinates typed in on your handheld machine, and you went by all those coordinates where they said who was where, and they got down to where the bodies were. So even with, like I said, me being 6'3", I would be able to see the bodies where T. Weber's property on top of the hill, across that way, would be able to see the bodies.
Right.
Standing in the middle of the creek, I would be seeing them. But
Lala says, what possible reason would defense want to bring the jury out to in their mind the whole experience could backfire and make me more keen to convict Richard Allen? They want to demonstrate that the timeline does not fit for one person.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that they might try to convince the jury with oldism somehow.
And that's what I'm worried about if a Detective Click gets called to the stand, because that's a backdoor way in to the third party.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be on the stand at all. But yeah, that was another reason that we're going to try to put oldism when they were seeing, okay, this is the top of the hill, there's the girls. I think oldism, but they can't have no evidence to prove it was oldism. And that's why you have, when I've said that, I should never said it was stage. It would look like oldism, but you know that should never been said, and that's why it's ruined this case as much. And the defense team went with it, and they still have no evidence. But they do have something on Richard Allen.
Oh, Jinx said, I think drone footage would be great. Yeah, and it's bow season out there at that time of the year too, isn't it? Hunting season.
Hunting season, yeah. But I don't think not around there. I think it'd be on the opposite side down the stream where Wilson's Bridge is.
Probably. Yeah.
That's where they were. But you know, it's time. Anna and Becky and all of them needs closure on this.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, we're all here for the families and justice for these girls. You know, nothing else.
Well, like I read on the news, the blue ribbon is kind of like remember the people who passed away, and and I was playing tie yellow ribbon, and I looked up to see what ribbon represents people who passed away. So it's a blue ribbon. They put it around the trees, same way as that. But yeah, it's just too long. And Becky, when we talked to Becky said they want to move on. they have a lot of things to do for the ballpark, and they can't do much because of what's going on. They need
Right.
clear this case done. They really got tired of the horse playing around of the defense team's doing.
I see a lot of people agreeing that they should let the jury to go out. I understand what your guys' thoughts and everything when it comes to this whole situation, but I don't think a lot of you are taking into account the physicality of having to go through these trails and these locations. You might have disabled people on this jury. You've got to take that into consideration. And that's what I believe Nick was referring to when he said all this in this response to going to the crime scene.
Yeah. But yeah, it's organism needs to stay out of this case.
Yes, definitely. I would imagine they've been out there, Priscilla, or at least out to the high bridge.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's doing a lot better in my opinion from when I've seen him at the 3-day hearing. I mean, he's wearing glasses. He seems like he's a lot better off.
I think he's come around.
Yeah.
He's come back around and realized, hey, I need to stop doing what I'm doing. It's not helping him.
GP, are you not coming to the walk? I hope so. GP.
Oh, GP, I'm getting a bracelet for you. Okay.
Jinx is telling GP.
Oh, okay. The trail is around the corner.
Oh yeah, Carrie knows about the hunting. So yeah.
Yeah, he was only 44 at the time of the murders.
There is not really any complexity. I mean, they're just using a grab bag is all they did. Anything they could find to try to make a story out of it is all they did. Even though they know they were wrong for it.
Mm-hmm. They're still trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat at the end here.
All right. Jailer for justice for Galen's Angels. If anybody knows anything about the floor of 4, any information would help. Please call this number on the screen, guys. Please. It's very urgent if anybody knows anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully there is something for any information on the girls and Laura.
And if anybody's not been to the Floor of 4 memorial page over on YouTube, please check it out. Like and subscribe. Go ahead, Randy. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's right. It's okay. So yeah, it's hopefully there will be news somewhere after this case is over with. I'm hopefully the news for the girls of who done it and why. What was the reason to set that on fire? It's got to be
from the crime scene, Olivia. Too, you can just barely see the north end of the bridge. Barely.
What is this?
You're reading the chat too.
Organism. There was Mama. Organism has nothing to do with this case at all.
Yep, this case is almost a trial, guys. We'll just cross our fingers that they don't try to pull no hokey doke shit right there, right before the beginning. Yeah, and we were out when I was out there both times. It was in October, so there was no leaves on the trees.
Yeah, we had on the last walk showing people out there when there's no leaves on the trees, you can see that he couldn't hide nowhere.
Right.
Wrong along the trail, you see all these limbs and trees, old tree logs down on the ground. He couldn't hide where the blue building is on 300, he would be seen walking, even from the trail. You can see him walking on 300. So there's ways that he could not be missed.
Yeah, and I've explained that before. The first time I was a router, when me, you, Taylor, the girl from Michigan, we all went up the ravine into the cemetery from the crime scene. And then Stefan was walking back through the trail to the north end. You could see her plain as day from 300.
So when people say, well, he was on the trail, no, he wasn't on the trail. People can see him walking from the trail. He was on 300. So that would be another answer to if it was him on that 300 walking back. If he says something, yeah, it was him. But there, like they said, witness needs to see, to remember if that was him or not.
And I want to give a shout out to Mel Cold Truth. Her dad is very, very ill. If we could send prayers her way, please, it would be greatly appreciated.
I'm doing okay, Mark. I'm just trying to catch up my rest and relaxing from all the funeral, and I had to clean up my stepfather's apartment. It was really a mess.
You got a point there, Lala, but the fact is, as she said, a roundabout way. If you can't give me solid evidence, I'm dismissing it. That would be the wrong time to go, Anna, because you're talking 20-degree weather, possible snow,
Rain, like we're having rain right now, so it's like it could rain. We never know what's going to snow in Indiana. We have a lot of times,
right?
we have a lot of times we had snow on Halloween here and other dates. We just don't know.
I don't know if this is a troll or not.
What? Oh.
Even though our client admits to being on the scene at the time, dressed like identical to the bridge guy, then told his wife and mother or 15 other folks he killed them. Other guy did it. Some other guy did it. I don't know how to take that one.
Are you saying that you, with Rich Allen, that he didn't do it still, but some other person did it? But where's the other person? They still waiting to see. That's what they're waiting for. Rich Allen to say, yeah, there was another person out there with him, but he hasn't said that. And if he saw another person out there, why don't he say it was this guy? I just didn't take them across the creek.
You're right, Brandon. There's still a possibility for a plea deal. I don't see a plea deal, but there's always a possibility of a plea change.
Yeah. Probably getting close to the court date hearing. It might be a plea deal.
Kyra says, I wonder if they thought there was a chance of surviving if they complied with him to go to the list location from the bridge. At what point did he give away his true intent? We won't know that until trial.
No. It's an argument that his attorneys have to make. Well, yes, but without no evidence, like the judge said, where's the evidence? You can't frame somebody else that they already had alibis showing to the courts.
That is going to be interesting to see what Brad Heath knows. Guarantee it.
See, he would have been seen by one the McCain brother who was visiting his parents out there. He was out there visiting his parents.
Who's that? Oh, you're talking about Dan?
Who?
Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I freaked out when we got up that ravine and had to climb up that back corner to the cemetery. As soon as you stood up, there was the McCain's parents' gravesite.
Yep, right down the bottom of the hill. Yep.
I was like, whoa.
So yeah, he was out there. I'm surprised he's not one of the people to be on the stand to see what he saw.
Lady Monet, this is where fear comes in. Fear does some tricky shit to the body. That he pulled that gun on them girls, your body, your brain's instantly telling your body to comply, basically.
Yeah.
You're freezing up, you know, your brain's going in all kinds of different directions. So your natural response is to comply.
Mm-hmm. Your mind's thinking so fast, it can't figure out, okay, which way I need to do. What's going on here? And it's like if you're thinking, if his gun was loaded or not, take a chance to do something, but they didn't try to take a chance to knock the gun out of his hand, then they can be able to run across the field.
That's what I was saying earlier, Monet. You never know what's going to happen in that courtroom. Mm-mm. All right, let me go. I'm going to pull up this limine real quick. We'll go over the limine real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 2.5 pages there. All right. We're going to go over the state's motion limine regarding the defense witness. Come now, the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas M. Cleland for the 74th Judicial Circuit and respectfully request that the court enter an order prohibiting the testimony by Mr. William Tobin, a listed defense witness regarding firearm examination in general or the firearm examination specifically in the case until a hearing may be held outside the presence of the jury to determine the relevance of Mr. Tobin's testimony. In support of its motion, the state would show the court the following. Number one, that William A. Tobin is listed as a defense witness that was deposed by the state on September 20, 2024. Mr. Tobin has testified that he is a forensic metallurgist and material scientist. He has a bachelor's of science degree in metallurgy and a master's arts degree in special studies, which he testified was primarily the study of law. Number two, in his deposition, Mr. Tobin testified that when he has been recognized as an expert in court, it always been a forensic metallurgist or material scientist. Number three, Mr. Tobin stated he had not examined the evidence in the case he testified he has reviewed some of the reports and notes of the state's firearm examiner, Miss Melissa Oberg. Mr. Tobin testified that though he has not reviewed all of Ms. Oberg's material, he has what he typically needs to be able to opinion on the methodology that's used. Tobin went on to explain that the state's firearm expert witnesses concludes are based on flawless methodology. Number four, according to Mr. Tobin, this flawed methodology is the AFTE, the Association of Firearm and Tool Mark Examiners. Theory of identification, this theory is what almost all firearm examiners follow, whether or not they are members of the AFTE. Number five, that Miss Oberg at the time of her examination was a forensic examiner with the Indiana State Police, and she, along with all other Indiana State Police firearm examiners, follow and apply the AFTE theory of identification. Number six, Mr. Tobin is not an expert in the field of firearms examination. Unlike another listed defense witness, Dr. Eric Warren, Dr. Warren, like the state's expert witness, Ms. Oberg is not only a member of the AFTE, but holds or has held leadership positions with the AFTE. Mr. Tobin's expected testimony will be that all firearm examiners, including Ms. Oberg and Dr. Warren, followed a flawed methodology and their opinions are not scientifically reliable. Number 7. However, the state believes that Mr. Tobin, who is not an expert in the field of firearms examination, lacks the qualifications to testify regarding the firearm examination in this case, and that his knowledge is not such that it would help the tier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact in an issue. In this case, Indiana R. Evidence 702. Number 8. Further, the state believes that Mr. Tobin's testimony would lack relevance under Indiana R. Evidence Rule number 4, since he is not an expert in the field of firearms examination. Finally, that the probative value of Mr. Tobin's testimony would be substantially outweighed by a danger of confusing the issues and misleading the jury. Indiana Rule Evidence 403. Number 9, the state believes that the question of whether or not Mr. Tobin should be permitted to testify in this case is very similar to a recent case out of Marion County, state of Indiana versus Caden Smith. She gives the case number. In this case, Judge Harrison ruled that Mr. Tobin would not be permitted to testify in her order dated January 29, 2024. The witness, Mr. Tobin, was being called by the defense to testify only as to the shortcomings of firearms examination in general. This witness has not tested or reviewed any of the evidence in this cause. The defense will have the opportunity to cross-examine the state's witness to present his defense as the shortcomings of firearms examination. The court now grants the state's motion in limine, paragraph Wherefore, the state of Indiana, by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClellan, respectfully requests this court to grant the following relief. Order the defendant through this counsel and witnesses to refrain from mentioning, commenting, or making any reference whatsoever, either directly or indirectly, to any of the above matters without first obtaining permission of the court outside the presence and hearing of the jury. To further order says persons to make no reference to the fact that the motion has been filed and granted, and all other relief just and proper in the premises. So basically he's saying that he's not even really a firearms expert. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like too.
So there's shit out of luck again, huh, guys? That's what it sounds like.
So it's kind of like the defense team will come up with something to disprove him on the stand on firearms somehow.
I'll read through chat. Oh, they're in here talking about hunting, bow hunting.
Yeah, there you can find regular people shooting guns, rifles out there. Since it echoes a lot out there where the bridge is. Yeah, agree. Smoke and mirrors, the defense team. Mm-hmm.
Try to confuse. It's a confusion tactic. Anyone that thinks the ROA was a small and weak to do this need only to Google Donald P. Wee Gaskins, who is 5'4", 130 pounds and alive over 12 people, one of the meanest serial alivers ever.
But you still have to remember, people, that he was the only one out there and nobody else besides Living Abby. He was by himself. He wanted to make sure nobody was around. Do what he needed to do.
Pat Brown. PB is Pat Brown.
Hey, Yvonne, how you doing?
He's the one that the rumor got around that he lost his keys when he parked his truck at the cemetery when everybody was searching.
But he actually didn't lose his keys.
Right. I don't understand how there can be definite evidence, but somehow they could still try to point out places where truth can't be understood. That how does having the evidence not just win the case? I mean, if it was like that, we wouldn't even have a jury.
Yeah.
Would all be bench trials. You either got a hung jury, guilty, or not guilty. And there's always a possibility of it all three. You got to remember that, guys.
Like they said, it's 50-50. Depends on who they pick for jurors. So, yeah, it's kind of like 50-50 altogether.
Yep. So he doesn't want this guy to be able to testify. We've got that. They do not want to be able to go visit the crime scene. We got that. The motion to compel. I should go over that, shouldn't I? Oh, that was the motion to compel. Never mind. So, but otherwise, I mean, full steam ahead, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of people are coming in who is going to be here at hotels. They're all being booked at this point.
Well, I've got Ivy Push is working on a place there in town.
Oh,
right there in town for me to stay at. Hopefully it comes through. So I don't have to worry about all that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, remember, guys, if we're not back, if we're not back on doing a live before then, let me find it. Abby and Libby prayer walk, October 13th, 1:30 p.m., 1600 Old Camden Road, Delphi, Indiana, which is the Freedom Bridge parking lot, guys.
There's two parking lots now off of Camden Road. There's a parking lot there, but then parking lot over by Freedom Bridge. Freedom Bridge is on 300. They call it 300 now. All that's be 300 over there.
Right, and we will have new little wristbands.
Yep.
This time. Never know what'll happen afterwards, guys. A lot of us like to go out to lunch, but we haven't here in the last few times after each walk. The very first walk I ever attended, all of us, I mean, we had a whole room to ourselves at Golden Corral.
Yeah.
That's how many people were there.
What was the last time we did the walk? We went to Walt's Pub.
Right. Okay.
That was the last time we went to Walt's Pub. Everybody liked it. On the west side, West Lafayette side. It's a lot bigger than the one we went to on the south side. But yeah, everybody loves going to Walt's Pub, so we might go to Walt's Pub because they got a bigger spot to hold all of us.
Give me a second.
All right.
Somebody's trolling me, but
it's West Lafayette, Scarlett. Walt's Pub. Just look it up.
I want to thank the people that have donated and was looking out for the live tonight. Bear Jew, which is actually Dan, which is Curious Contrarian, guys. So he was trolling my chat. Just want to let you guys know that. Boo Boo, thanks for the $4.99. Carrie, thank you, ma'am, for the $9.99. We got Purple Haze for the $2. Thank you much. It's greatly appreciated. I do. If you guys want to donate to the Cash App, there is my Cash App address right there. And for all my mods that were in the chat tonight, you guys did a wonderful job, ladies. Thank you so much. And to everybody else in my chat, thank you so much for coming hanging out. You always know how I work, guys. When stuff's coming down or documents coming down, once I get them, I go live. Until then, guys, you know what time it is. Peace out. One love, guys. I'm out. Good night, guys. Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Have a good night.
Uh-huh.